Hey guys, what's up? Sandu here. Taking a short trip down the memory lane about 7 years ago when Audeze just launched the LCD-free, I've sent an email to Audeze asking kindly if they will ever release a headphone in the sub $500 bracket that should fill the gap in the LCD line of headphones. And they winked back that something is in the works, but obviously they couldn't spill the beans for me. L8 came later on, that almost then in terms of price. Then Sign came, but those weren't desktop headphones. I didn't abandon my hope as the force is strong in this one. And when I've seen the introduction of the LCD-1 and a lot of technology that was borrowed from the bigger brother LCD-4, like uniforce diaphragm, fluxor magnets, and even those phasor waveguides were in there too, all at less than $500, I knew that this is it. Okay guys, so please meet the newest and the most affordable desktop headphone from Audeze, the LCD-1. Let's check it out. Still handcrafted in California. Great. Let's open it up. Okay, what we have here? A certificate of authenticity signed by Audeze, and also a thank you letter, which is always nice. And we have this really small but nice looking hard case, very practical, very small, lightweight. And let's open it up, and you have your LCD-1, which are folded very nicely, which I quite like and enjoy. And you also can see the detachable cable that comes with a small adapter. As you can see, the cable is terminated with 3.5 millimeters, meaning that you can drive them even with portable devices, smartphones, laptops. And I'm really glad that Audeze ditched those L8 connectors on the L8 headphones, because I think that 3.5 millimeters is much sturdier, much easier to find. If you want to change your cable with an aftermarket cable, it's much easier. And the headphones themselves, which are folded. And that is basically everything you will find inside the package. In terms of build quality, first of all, LCD-1 is having some tricks under its sleeve that any other headphones in the LCD line are not having. For example, I can lay them flat with the earpads touching my table. This way I will not scratch or damage any part of it. They can be folded to fit a small carry case, so I consider them very portable. The ear cups can be rotated for about 100 degrees, and I can adjust the headband size single-handedly. LCD-1 are scoring high points when it comes to comfort. At just 250 grams, I can wear them for all day long without any pain around my ears, without neck pain or on top of my head. LCD-2 to LCD-4 owners know what I'm talking about. I also like that it has elongated ear cups sitting in the right angle with my ears. I was worried a bit that they might sit on my ears and not around them, but that is not the case. They fit like a glove. The headband is wrapped in a super soft memory foam that distributes the weight evenly. I also like the soft and fluffy lambskin leather earpads filled with lots of memory foam. They will make sure your listening experience is pleasant and relaxing. I like that those earpads are user replaceable. Gently pull them straight and that's it. I line them back, apply some pressure, and after 4 clicks you will put them back. When you take off those earpads, you can see the driver assembly, but most importantly you can see those phasor elements that were first introduced with LCD-4, and I'm really glad that Audeze put them here too. As you might expect, reaching that $399 price bracket, some sacrifices needed to be made, but mostly and thankfully only in terms of build quality. The whole headphone structure is made out of hard plastic with just few metal details here and there. As for tech inside, Audeze took their heavy guns as big fluxor magnets, ultra-thin uniforce diaphragms, phasor waveguides, and put them inside the most affordable desktop planar magnetic headphone. Tech-wise, the only thing that differentiates it from the rest of the LCD line is the driver size. From 106 mm on its bigger brothers, it shrunk to 90 mm that has a plus side and a down side. It should be much easier to drive, putting less stress on the source at the cost of a smaller sound with a smaller stage and less depth information. Audeze used the same high quality and powerful neodymium magnets to push that driver and do its work. The impedance is a really friendly one at just 16 ohms and having a high sensitivity of 99 dB per 1 mW of power. LCD-1 should work just fine with all portable DAPs and even with some smartphones, tablets and laptops. In terms of sound signature, LCD-1 is sounding like a proper Audeze headphone. Bass is going down there to the lowest octaves, mid-range is sweet and really soul-grabbing, treble is extended but unoffensive and without a single trace of brightness. So it has an extended frequency response with lots of naturalness and mid-range presence. Depth is there too, and I could see through my best recordings with ease, and most importantly I could drive them even with my smartphone, which is absolutely great. So the best part is that I found in them that famous and transient response and those very low harmonic distortion that Audeze is known for. I can listen to them to really loud levels without a single trace of distortion or weak dynamics. So LCD-1 is all about slam in the bass, about speed and impact, and it really knows how to increase the mood levels of the listener. So I am not that shocked to hear them performing much better than the Sennheiser Momentum 2, Mesi 99 Classics, RZ Italia, and even my former Sennheiser HD 660S, are slower sounding in speed and not that interesting in terms of dynamics. In terms of bass, being a planar headphone, LCD-1 is not shy in showing off that low end, that rumbles, that punches hard, that goes really deep, even down to 20 Hz area. So I give a lot of importance to how low that bass can go, how layered it is sounding, and how much it can be maintained, but most importantly, how clean it is sounding. So in this regard, all open back dynamic headphones, desktop headphones that I tried, didn't impress an electronica addict like myself. So if the quantity was right, the quality would not be on the same level, maybe its speed would not impress me. And LCD-1 out of a portable DAP, playing some old school rave, drum and bass, techno, psytrance, moved me and impressed me with its hit and run approach, so with its lightning quick transients. It just carries lots of air with every note and has a really good punch. So give them a little bit more power and you cannot ask for more in terms of bass. So the transition from sub bass to mid bass is done really seamless, really smooth. And again, LCD-1 is showing all its muscles. So mid bass is not really elevated by my standards. It's really like the low end, it's really straight as a line, very linear sounding, but really clean, defined without being overdone or muddy. In terms of mid-range, when you buy a set of Audeze headphones, you buy it for that controlled and deep bass, but most importantly, you buy it for that sweet sounding mid-range, magical mid-range that infuses so much joy, that can relax you, that can make you applause at the end of the song, that will send shivers through your spine and will put just a big smile on your face. So LCD-1 is really no different in this regard than 10 times more expensive LCD-4. When I've listened to an older track, but a really famous one, the Dave Brubeck Quartet, Take 5, unwillingly I raised that volume up to have a better feeling of the song. So this is a reference recording that has so many things around, even tiny movements in the room can be felt. So the piano and that treble solo sounded just so magical and always moves my body when I'm listening to it. Trumpet really stands out, it grabs attention with its flow, with its easiness. So the grain and the background noise of the older recording, it's still very present and I can hear it loud and clear. But it's not bothering me that much at all, actually. If you are a mid-range addict like myself, you should really try the LCD-1. I think it's the best part of this headphone. As for treble, LCD-1 has a more than decent treble extension, so I can hear those cymbal crashes quite clean and quite extended. Snares have a pleasant kick and definition. On a first inspection, everything seems at its right spot, so as with all Audeze headphones, just don't expect any kind of brightness. That will not happen with LCD-1. So LCD-1 is free of any grain, of any harshness, and follows just a very relaxed performance in detriment of a super extended and linear treble response. There are indeed some drops in the treble region that makes everything else pop. I will measure them really soon, and I presume that treble deviation will be quite minimal from my linearity curve. However, thanks to that faster movement of the diaphragm, the treble always keeps up with the music, so be it double drums, be it faster cymbals, those always sounded clean and really outlined with a very clean leading edge, with just the right amount of zing. So LCD-1 are not tiring in the long run and can be listened for a very long hours, no problemo. In terms of transient response, I was teasing you even from the start that LCD-1 is all about speed, about lightning fast transients with very good slam in the bass. So I just connected them to the benchmark HPA4 that is being fed by the Matrix Audio Element X, and I felt that just a massive spike in terms of dynamics and in terms of speed. It's like giving a cup of coffee to a squirrel and watch it go. So LCD-1 started going just crazy in terms of dynamics and impact, just to unrecognizable. So if speed is your thing, then LCD-1 is just impressive from the first second of pressing play. And in this regard, it is almost on the same level with the LCD-4, and this is really not a joke. If you listen to music for a few days with LCD-1 on your head, and then you move to a pair of, say, Sennheiser HD600, or to a pair of Mezi 99 Classics, then the first impression that you get, that is something is really missing from your music. There is something very wrong with the later ones. So I always get that feeling, and once I start listening more, I understand that it's the speed of the later ones that I simply cannot keep up with the LCD-1. So LCD-1 is almost a transient monster, how I called the RZH Phobos and the Audeze LCD-4 when properly driven. In terms of soundstage and depth, I will not go roses are red and violets are blue for the rest of this review, right? So I feel that the Achilles heel for the LCD-1 is actually the soundstage size. So to me, LCD-1 is, it presents a decent soundstage size, almost on the shoulder level. Music is presented on all three axes with decent amounts of air around the listener. However, not a lot of it, not a lot of air, with smaller air bubbles between each note and each instrument. So LCD-1 is not sounding inside my head, like for example Grado headphones are doing. It's more like a Sennheiser HD660 type of soundstage than HD800 type of soundstage. So it is decent enough, but not huge, not really open wide and spacious. So LCD-1 is almost never really spacious and has just less empty space between the left and the right channel. In his defense, I will mention that depth is much better than the soundstage size. It's actually one of the main strengths of all Audeze line of headphones. So if you close your eyes and while listening to a very good recording, you can follow the trace of a single instrument. You can focus your mind on a single sound from a very crowded track. So while you do that, you start feeling this a distance between you and that particular note that is creating this 3D image inside your head. So LCD-1 is capable of creating this 3D image with very precise pinpoint imaging. I can feel how deep is my music and I can move freely inside it. So LCD-1 is great in terms of depth and just pretty good in terms of soundstage. In terms of detail retrieval while listening to Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine, on the 3-minute and 2-second mark I can hear how Tom is pressing that pedal and his guitar amplifier just is being engaged. So it's more like a low intensity hum, but very clear, very defined. So while listening to Antonio Vivaldi, The Four Seasons by Chesky Records, I can clearly hear the foot movements in the room and some small chat in the background. So a very clear sign that LCD-1 are capable of rendering very small subtleties and nuances, or micro details, how I'm calling them. So while listening to Allegro non molto from the same recording, from the same album, I can clearly hear the inhale and the exhale of the conductor. So really small details that are sending a clear signal how LCD is performing in terms of details. So LCD-1 is indeed capable of rendering high amounts of details if you power them with a clean sounding source and amplifier. I also did some measurements using a mini DSP gear system, so I'll just briefly show you their raw frequency response. Just take a look how impressive is actually LCD-1 from sub-bass up to the lower treble region. Just a straight, beautiful line across that region. Driver matching seems to be really good too. Total harmonic distortion stays at a very safe 0.16% at a loudness of 84 dB. And as you can see, most of the time it stays between 0.1 and 0.2%, so very, very impressive. I do not see any weird driver movement in the spectrogram. As you can clearly see the hot spots in the frequency response, and as I experienced it, its bass and mid-range are just to die for. As for decay, it's kind of impressive seeing LCD-1 performing as fast and as nimble as LCD-4 is doing at 10 times cheaper. Overall, I just recorded the best measurements for a headphone that costs less than $1,000 US, so it measured better than pricier Quad Era 1, Sennheiser HD 660, and better than all mid-range dynamic headphones that I have tested of late. I also did a short comparison between LCD-1 and a pair of Sennheiser HD 660s, but since I don't want to make this video super long or boring, please check my written review below for that comparison and for my detailed measurement analysis. Going on into the conclusion, the latest addition to the Audeze premium line of headphones immediately caught my attention, so it finally filled the gap in the LCD line of headphones, and I can finally travel the world with a lightweight Audeze headphone wherever I go. So I tested a lot of headphones in the sub $500 price category that were good on something particular, but weren't that good on anything else. So in all seriousness now, there is a lot to love about LCD-1, and I don't see any major shortcomings with this one. So I like their looks, I like their comfort level, I'm in love with their sound, and I'm very glad about that $399 price category. It's a proper Audeze, that's for sure, and it will be driven even by lower power devices, so just be sure to feed them some nice lossless quality files, and musical bliss will surely follow. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. My full in-depth review is waiting on my website. In case you want to support the channel, please subscribe to it, and thank you for doing that. As usual, listen to my music, be positive, and I'll see you soon. Cheers guys, bye bye.